You weren't born afraid, you learned fear, and if you can learn fear, you can learn confidence. Confidence isn't something you're given, it's something you build brick by brick, day by day. You don't wake up with it. You create it by showing up, by pushing past the voice that says, "I'm not enough," and replacing it with, "Watch me." The most powerful force in human behavior is the need to stay consistent with your identity. So if you want unstoppable confidence, you've got to rewire who you believe you are. That's what I'm going to help you do, starting now. Confidence isn't a feeling you wait for. It's not something that just happens when everything aligns. That's the myth that keeps most people small. They're waiting to feel confident before they act, but that's backward. Confidence comes from taking action, especially when you don't feel ready, and stacking up proof that you're stronger than your fears. Let me say it again, confidence is built by evidence, not wishful thinking, not fake it till you make it. It's built by showing up, following through, and proving to yourself over and over again that you can count on you. Every time you do what you say you're going to do, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, you cast a vote for a new identity, the identity of someone who is capable, certain, and powerful. Think about it like a muscle. You don't build strength by reading about push-ups. You build it by doing the reps. You build it by failing and getting back up. You build it by conditioning your nervous system to stay in action even when your mind screams, "You can't." And the more you repeat that process, the more certainty you create. That certainty becomes your foundation, and here's the magic. Once you've conditioned that kind of certainty into your nervous system, no one can take it from you. Not a boss, not a setback, not a failure. Why? Because it's no longer just a belief, it's proof. You've seen yourself do it. You've felt yourself rise. You've earned your confidence. But most people don't have confidence because they don't have consistency. They break promises to themselves. They hesitate, procrastinate, overthink. And every time they do, they erode their own trust. And without trust, there is no confidence. So here's your breakthrough. Confidence is not a gift. It's a standard. Raise the standard for how you show up, and you'll raise the level of belief you have in yourself. You don't need to feel confident to begin. You need to begin to feel confident. And if you repeat that enough times, you'll stop trying to feel ready, because you'll know you're ready. Every time on command, that's how you build unstoppable confidence. Confidence doesn't live in your mind alone. It lives in your body. The fastest way to shift how you feel is to change how you move. If you want unstoppable confidence, you don't just need better thoughts. You need a stronger state. And state comes from physiology. Your posture, your breathing, your energy. They're not just reflections of how you feel. They're the drivers of how you feel. Most people don't realize this. They try to think their way into confidence while their body is slouched, their breath is shallow, and their energy is low. Let me tell you, you can't think your way into a powerful state if you're physically in a weak one. The mind follows the body, always. You want to feel bold, strong, certain, stand up, shoulders back, breathe deep, move like a leader, speak with strength, walk like you own the space. It's not fake, it's training. Your nervous system remembers movement. When you condition your body to hold power, your brain starts to believe it's who you are. That's why athletes do rituals before they compete. That's why I do priming every single day before I walk on stage. Because confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you generate through motion. I've seen people shift from fear to fire in seconds just by changing their physiology. You take someone who's curled in on themselves, speaking quietly, breathing like they're under attack. You're looking at a person in survival, but you get them standing tall, breathing strong, putting energy behind their voice, and suddenly that fear has no place to live. You can't feel weak when your body is commanding strength. And here's the key. You don't do this once. You condition it. You train your body daily to step into that state. Because the more often you step into confidence, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, You're not trying to feel confident. You are confident. It's not a trick. It's not a hype. It's who you've become. So the next time fear shows up, don't shrink. Move. Change your breath. Change your posture. Change your presence. Because when you master your physiology, you master your emotions. And when you master your emotions, you become unshakable. Confidence isn't just in your mind, it's in your motion. Own it. You will never outperform your identity. Read that again. It doesn't matter how much skill you have, how many books you read, or how many motivational videos you watch. If deep down you believe you're not enough, you'll find a way to sabotage every breakthrough. Because your identity is the thermostat for your life. It controls the level of success, confidence, and certainty you allow yourself to experience. And until you upgrade your identity, nothing else will stick. Think about it. If someone who sees themselves as a failure suddenly gets success, they'll find a way to lose it. If they believe they're shy or weak, even if they perform well in one moment, their subconscious will drag them back down. Why? Because the mind fights to stay consistent with who we believe we are. You can't act confidently while believing you're unworthy. It creates emotional conflict, and that inner war drains your power. Now here's the breakthrough. Identity is not fixed. You weren't born with beliefs like I'm not confident or I'm not a leader. You learned those stories, and if you learned them, you can rewrite them. But it takes intention. It takes action. It takes proving to yourself over and over again that you're becoming someone new. You start with one decision. Who do I want to be? Not what do I want to have, but who must I become to create the life I want? Because your identity isn't shaped by what you say, it's shaped by what you do repeatedly. You want to become confident? Start acting like a confident person would act, even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it. Each time you show courage, each time you speak up, take a risk, stand tall. You lay another brick in the foundation of a new identity. Over time, your brain stops fighting it. It starts saying, maybe this is who I really am. That's when the shift happens. That's when confidence goes from being an effort to being your essence. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become more of who you really are, without the fear, without the lies, without the limits. Identity is destiny. Upgrade who you believe you are, and your confidence will never be capped again. Confidence is not built in comfort. It's forged in the fire of uncertainty, in those moments when you don't know how it's going to work out, but you step in anyway. That's the gym. That's the real training ground. Because every time you lean into discomfort instead of pulling back, you stretch your limits, expand your capacity, and teach your nervous system that you can handle way more than you thought. Most people are waiting for confidence so they can finally take action. But the truth is, confidence is the result of action, not the requirement. You grow it every time you show up when it's inconvenient. When it's scary, when it's uncertain, discomfort is not the enemy. It's the signal. It means you're at the edge of your current identity. It means you're in the place where growth lives. Think about it like this. No one builds muscle by lifting feathers. You build strength by putting your body under resistance. The same is true for confidence. If you keep avoiding the hard conversations, the bold moves, the big risks, you're not protecting your confidence, you're starving it. You're teaching yourself that fear wins, that hesitation is safer than progress, and over time, your world shrinks to the size of your comfort zone. But step into that discomfort. You start to wire in courage. You start to become someone who runs toward the fire instead of away from it. You start building evidence that you can handle the unknown, and every time you survive, better yet, every time you succeed, your confidence compounds. This is why some people walk into any room, any challenge, any storm, and they don't flinch, it's not because they're fearless. It's because they've trained in the gym of discomfort. They've failed, they've stumbled, they've been humbled, but they've grown. And growth builds confidence more than perfection ever could. So the next time discomfort knocks, don't hide. Answer the door. Don't look for the easy path. Look for the path that stretches you, because that stretch is where your edge lies. And the edge is where confidence is born. You want unstoppable confidence, then get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because when you can thrive in uncertainty, nothing can hold you back. Not fear, not failure, not anyone's opinion. That's where you let me be direct. The only thing truly stopping you from building unstoppable confidence is the story you keep telling yourself. You know the one, I'm not good enough, I'm not a confident person, I always screw it up, I wasn't born with it. Those aren't facts. They're not reality. They're just repeated thoughts you've practiced for so long. They've become your truth, but they're not the truth. Here's the hard truth most people never face. You're living inside a belief system you didn't consciously choose. Maybe it came from a moment in childhood. Maybe it came from a failure. Maybe it came from someone else's judgment. But somewhere along the way, you had a painful experience and made it mean something about you. That meaning became a belief, and that belief became your limit. But here's the good news. If you built that belief, you can break it. If you told yourself that story once, you can tell a new one now. Because the most powerful force in the human psyche is the need to stay consistent with your identity. And identity is shaped by the stories you repeat. Change the story, change the identity, and your confidence explodes. How do you destroy the old story? First, you become aware of it, catch it in the moment, hear that voice say, I can't do this, or I'm going to fail, and interrupt it. Don't argue with it, break its pattern. Stand up, shout stop. If you have to, change your body and replace that lie with something empowering, not fake, not hype, but something true, something stronger. Second, gather new evidence. Every time you take action despite fear, every time you speak up, take the leap, keep a promise. You're proving the old story wrong, and over time the brain starts to rewrite the script. It starts to say, maybe I can do this, maybe I am strong, maybe I am confident. And guess what? That becomes the new story, the one that empowers you instead of enslaving you. So if you want unstoppable confidence, stop trying to feel better inside the prison of your old beliefs. Break the walls down. Write a new narrative, one that reflects the truth of your potential, not the fears of your past, because once the story changes, everything changes. If you want to build unstoppable confidence, you cannot do it in isolation. Confidence is not just internal, it's environmental. Who you surround yourself with will either stretch you or shrink you. It's that simple. If you spend time with people who doubt themselves, who complain, who play small, guess what you start doing? You adopt their energy, you speak like them, you start accepting their version of realistic, and your confidence dies a slow death without you even noticing. But if you get around people who walk with certainty, who speak with boldness, who expect growth and progress, you rise. Their confidence starts to rub off, their energy becomes your standard. You start to play a different game, not because someone told you to, but because you see it modeled in real time. That's the power of proximity. It pulls you up to a new level. Every single person I've coached, from struggling entrepreneurs to billionaires, has one thing in common. They understood the importance of their circle. They were ruthless about who they spent time with. Not because they're arrogant, because they know the truth. Your environment is always shaping you. It's either building your belief system or breaking it. This doesn't mean you cut everyone off or live in an echo chamber. It means you intentionally choose to spend the most time with people who are living the way you want to live. People who embody the confidence, discipline, passion, and certainty you want to develop. It means you invest in coaches, mentors, masterminds, communities, anything that raises your standard by osmosis. And here's the magic. When you upgrade your proximity, your identity starts to shift. You stop saying, "I can't," because no one around you is saying that. You stop playing small because the people around you are playing big. Suddenly, your old limits feel like they belong to a different version of you, and they do. So if your confidence is lacking, check your circle. Audit your environment. Ask yourself, who am I becoming by being around these people? If the answer doesn't excite you, change it, because you become who you spend time with. Confidence is contagious. Get around it and you'll catch it. Stay around it and you'll own it. Proximity is power. Choose power.